Scary telling.
I woke up with a strange feeling in my ear, like something was crawling inside. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but the sensation persisted throughout the morning. It felt like there was something living inside my ear, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it was getting worse. As I walked into work, I felt increasingly uneasy. The noises in my ear grew louder and more persistent, and I started to feel like something was taking over my body. I tried to ignore it and focus on my work, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. My coworkers noticed that something was off about me. They asked if I was feeling okay, but I brushed it off and said I just needed some time to myself. I retreated to the bathroom, hoping to find some relief. As I splashed water on my face, I heard a faint whisper in my ear. It said, "Gonna stay with you forever." I jumped, startled by the sudden sound. But then I realized that it wasn't just my imagination. There was something living inside my ear, something that was whispering to me in a voice that was both familiar and terrifying. I tried to shake it out, but the creature was too fast. It crawled deeper into my ear, making strange noises and whispering terrible things. I knew then that I was in trouble, that something had taken hold of me and wasn't going to let go. As I stumbled out of the bathroom, I felt like I was losing control of my body. The noises grew louder and more persistent, and I started to feel dizzy and disoriented. My coworkers seemed to be speaking in gibberish, and I couldn't make sense of anything they were saying. I knew then that I needed to get help, that I couldn't go on like this. But I was too scared to tell anyone what was happening. I was afraid they would think I was crazy, that they would lock me up and throw away the key. So I tried to keep it to myself, to hide the fact that something was living inside me and was taking over my body. But as the day wore on, I knew that I couldn't keep it a secret forever. Something had to give, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. The strange noises in my ear continued to grow louder and more insistent throughout the day, until they were all I could hear. It was like a constant, buzzing drone that drowned out everything else. I tried to focus on my work, but I found myself staring off into space, lost in my own thoughts. My coworkers noticed that something was off about me, but they didn't know what to do to help. As the day wore on, I started to feel more and more disoriented. The noises in my ears seemed to be affecting my vision, making everything look blurry and distorted. I tried to tell myself that it was all in my head, that I was just imagining things. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. At one point, I heard a coworker speaking to me, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Her words sounded like gibberish, like they were being distorted by the strange noises in my ear. I retreated to the bathroom again, hoping to find some relief. But as I looked in the mirror, I realized that things were much worse than I thought. My eyes looked dull and lifeless, like there was no one behind them. The whites of my eyes were red and inflamed, and there were dark circles under my eyes. I looked like I hadn't slept in days. I splashed some water on my face, trying to wake myself up. But it didn't help. The noises in my ear grew louder and more insistent, until they were all I could hear. I knew then that I had to do something. I couldn't keep living like this, with something crawling around inside my ear and taking over my body. But I was too scared to tell anyone what was happening. I didn't know who to trust, or if anyone would believe me. So I tried to soldier on, hoping that things would get better on their own. But as the day wore on, I knew that I was in a bad place. The noises in my ear were starting to affect my balance, and I was stumbling around like a drunkard. I knew then that I had to do something, or I would be lost forever. But I didn't know what to do, or who to turn to. All I knew was that something was very, very wrong. As the day dragged on, I became more and more convinced that something was living inside my ear. The noises were getting louder and more persistent, and I was starting to hear strange whispers in my mind. I retreated to the bathroom once again, hoping to find some relief. But as I looked in the mirror, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A small, white creature was crawling out of my ear, its segmented body wriggling with malevolent intent. It looked like a cross between a worm and a spider, with tiny legs that twitched as it moved. I tried to swipe it away, but the creature was too fast. It crawled up my face and over my eyes, blocking out the world around me. I screamed and tried to fight it off, but the creature seemed to be too powerful. It crawled into my mouth and down my throat, and I felt like I was being suffocated. As I struggled to breathe, I could hear the creature's voice in my mind. It whispered terrible things, promises of pain and suffering that made my blood run cold. "Gonna stay with you forever," it said. "Gonna be your one and only." I knew then that the creature was not from this world. It had come to claim me, to make me its own, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. As the creature crawled deeper into my body, I felt like I was losing control. My thoughts became jumbled and confused, and I couldn't remember who I was or where I was going. All I knew was that the creature was in control now, and that it was going to do terrible things to me. I tried to fight it off, but I was too weak. The creature was too powerful, and I was too far gone. As I stumbled out of the bathroom, I could hear my coworkers whispering behind my back. They knew that something was wrong, but they didn't know what to do to help me. I knew then that I was lost, that the creature had claimed me as its own, and there was nothing anyone could do to save me from its insatiable hunger. As the days went by, the creature inside me grew stronger and more insistent. Its voice echoed in my mind, whispering terrible things and filling me with a sense of dread. I tried to fight it off, but it was like trying to stop a tidal wave with a sandcastle. The creature was too powerful, and I was too weak. My coworkers noticed that something was off about me. They tried to talk to me and offer their help, but I pushed them away. I knew that if they found out what was happening to me, they would be in danger too. As the creature took over my body, I became a shell of my former self. I went through the motions of my job without any passion or emotion, and I stopped talking to anyone unless it was absolutely necessary. The creature's voice grew louder in my mind, telling me that I belonged to it now and that it would never let me go. It promised me power and control, and I felt myself getting lost in its twisted desires. I tried to fight back, to reclaim my own body and mind, but it was like trying to swim upstream in a raging river. The creature was too powerful, and I was too far gone. One day, I disappeared from work. No one knew where I had gone or what had happened to me. Some speculated that I had run away, while others believed that I had been taken by the creature. But in truth, I was still here, trapped inside my own body as the creature consumed me from within. I could feel its presence inside me, like a fire that burned hotter and hotter with each passing day. And I knew that there was no escape from its insatiable hunger. I was lost to the world, consumed by the creature's dark desires. As the days turned into weeks, the creature inside me grew stronger and more insistent. Its voice filled my mind, drowning out all other thoughts and desires. I had lost all control over my body and mind, and I was consumed by the creature's twisted desires. It whispered terrible things to me, promising me power and control, and I felt myself getting lost in its dark embrace. One day, I woke up to find that the creature had taken over completely. I was no longer myself, but a vessel for its insatiable hunger. The creature forced me to do terrible things, to hurt others and cause pain wherever I went. I was powerless to stop it, and I knew that there was no hope for me. But then, something miraculous happened. As I sat alone in my apartment, Consumed by the creature's dark desires, I heard a voice whisper in my mind. It was a faint voice, almost imperceptible at first. But as I listened, I realized that it was a voice of hope, a voice of light in the darkness. The voice whispered to me of love and forgiveness, of redemption and salvation. It told me that there was still a way out of the darkness, that there was still hope for me yet. At first, I resisted the voice. I was consumed by the creature's twisted desires, and I couldn't see a way out of the darkness. But then, I felt something stir inside me. A tiny spark of hope, a flicker of light in the darkness. Slowly but surely, I began to fight back against the creature. I pushed against its twisted desires, and I started to reclaim control over my own body and mind. It wasn't easy. The creature fought back, harder than ever before. But with the help of the voice in my mind, I was able to push it back, to reclaim my own body and mind. In the end, I emerged victorious. The creature was defeated, and I was free once again. And as I looked back on my journey, I realized that it was only through the power of love and forgiveness that I had been able to overcome the darkness. I was a survivor, a fighter, a hero. And I knew that I would never forget the lessons I had learned on my journey to the light.